here once again at SECON 2026 New Jersey. This is Unencrypted Chatter, the New Jersey chapter podcast. And we have fresh off her talk, her keynote here in the conference, Alissa Knight. Alissa, welcome to the podcast.
Joe, thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And you were so nice to come because you are such a rock star. You were just absolutely swarmed after your talk.
I am so sorry. Thank you for waiting, by the way. I always feel like, I feel bad. I feel like I want to go down the line and hand people like drinks and like, cause like they're waiting and it's thank you.
So you were great. And you were very nice too.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice with everyone. Took a selfie with everyone.
Oh, that's thank great. You. Yeah, just being a good human.
Maybe one day we'll get to that level. What do you think, Rich? We'll have a line like that. But I actually can't wait to see the replay of your talk because we were in here podcasting, but you have one of the hottest topics and one of my favorites, which is not just security. I know you do a lot of offensive AI stuff, but the whole harness situation.
Yeah. I'm doing. I like to say I'm a polymath. I do a lot of Hollywood entertainment. Directed 7 TV shows. So yeah, I have a Hollywood area that I do. Published. We also own a video game studio, so we MasterCard financed our first video game that we launched. So we're doing a lot. We do a lot. This could be like an all-day interview. Like we covered everything that we're doing. Well, we could just stay on the AI stuff. It's okay.
Well, we can talk about whatever you want. But it's interesting. When I was sitting here with Rich beforehand prepping, we're like, what are we going to cover? I go, we can't possibly cover everything Alissa does. We will be here for days.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to have me back. As long as you don't hate me. By the end of the interview, if you don't hate me, then I'll come back.
Not worried about that. But so with your talk, I've been doing a lot, and I don't know how aware everyone is, but right now we have the whole AI harness wars going on. That it's not the model anymore; it's the harness.
Very good.
We have OpenClaw, and then OpenClaw. Then we have Hermes or Hermes. I'm not quite sure how to say it correctly.
That was good. That was very interesting. So we actually modeled the Predator harness that I just built was actually inspired by Hermes Agent. Really interesting open source project. If none of you have heard of it, but yeah, the harness wars. That's what my keynote was about, and the importance of harnesses over AI models.
Yeah, and it's just so fascinating because there's all those camps. There's all the open source doing the same thing. Others, I actually tried to get Claude to write one, and I got a feeling it wasn't quite as good as yours.
Well, no, yeah. So, look, if it's okay with you in your audience, I'll explain what the heck a harness is. So everyone is talking about the importance of AI models, right? Who's got the biggest model? Who's got the bigger stick, right? Who's got the most parameters, right? We're now at trillions of parameters on AI models, and I am trying to educate everyone on the fact that the size of the AI model, the number of parameters doesn't matter. So everyone is talking about Mythos, right? It's all about Mythos. Everyone's scared of Mythos. But what a lot of people don't understand, and what I don't understand why there isn't as much press coverage about it, is that M-, which very few people have heard of, is a harness that was created by Microsoft that has crushed Mythos on the CyberGym benchmark.
And it's now heard of that one.
And no one's heard of it.
How is that?
Yeah, it's so what it is Microsoft came along and said, look, we're going to prove to all of you that the model doesn't matter. So M- is just a harness. And what Microsoft did was they basically tied it to a bunch of like other open models frontier models on the internet and communicated with them through their APIs. And so M- is now number 1 on the CyberGym model, and in second place is Mythos now. But no one knows that. Everyone's talking about how lethal Mythos is, not realizing that there's a more lethal harness called M-. And it really goes into the crux of my positioning, and that we need to stop talking about the models. It really isn't about the models. If you have a really crappy model and it's harnessed by a lethal, very well done harness, versus a really great model that's got a really crappy harness around it, the crappy model with the great harness will win. And it's the fact that a lot of people don't understand that agentic models, when you say my model is agentic, you're not talking about the model. You're talking about the harness. It's the harness, the wrapper around the model that actually makes it agentic. So think of the AI model as your brain and your hands and your legs and your sternum, your right. All of this is the harness. And your brain, it doesn't matter a single bit if the rest of your body is dead or can't move, right? So that's what the harness is. And people don't understand how powerful it really is.
I mean, I think that's a fantastic point. So when you're kind of going out and, speaking to customers, clients, and other folks in the community, why is there a lack of awareness and a real understanding? Because I think what you're kind of detailing is a fantastic kind of analogy, right? And you're really framing it well. Why are people not kind of understanding that and capturing it when we're still kind of passe thinking?
I think, look, okay, this is going to sound really bad, but anyone who knows me knows I'm very unfiltered. Okay?
Oh, please, go for it.
I'm going unfiltered.
Well, this is Jersey, so say we can say.
Yeah, that's right. This is a Jersey podcast.
This is my first time in New Jersey, by the way. I've never been to New Jersey before.
That's so sad.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
I feel bad for you.
We have to fix this.
Seriously.
So look, here's the thing. I think it comes from a place of ignorance. And I think there's a lot of ignorance in the world, and we as humans have a tendency to stick to echo chambers that support our belief system. That's where I believe we are today as a society. And so I think it's coming from a place of people that just don't understand. And what's happening is their news feeds, their LinkedIn feeds, their Instagram feeds, their Facebook feeds, everything is basically the fire hose of information. And when they're reading about the new Claude, the new Mythos, the new Fable 5 that just came out, that if that's their education, they start to form opinions and they start to become indoctrinated with that vernacular, like, oh, the model is the agentic capability. The model is what we should care about. But I like to say that necessity is the mother of invention. And look what happened with the Chinese, right? Okay, so very few people know this. But okay, so as you know, we went to China and we said, you are not allowed to buy our most powerful GPUs from NVIDIA, okay?
Right.
So we barred the shipment of powerful GPUs to China. And so what ended up happening was China came in and said, you know what? We're going to show you something. And what they did was they took least powerful GPUs and actually started building models with them and said, if you're not going to give us your most powerful GPUs, we're going to figure out how to make the most powerful models with what we've got. Necessity is the mother of invention. And guess what 8 out of the 10 top models are on the leaderboards are Chinese models. And it goes to underscore the point that, what we are being told and what we're being spoon-fed is that the most important thing is how big your model is. Who's got the bigger stick? Who's got the bigger model? Who's got trillions of parameters? Gemini, trillion parameters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it doesn't have a great harness. And the neat thing about it is all of you could pull out your cheapest, lowest laptop and build a harness right now on your laptop. You don't need a discrete GPU. You don't need a $10,000 GPU. You can build a harness right there on your laptop and just connect it to any AI model on the internet. And then you've got a fully working, fully capable, fully lethal system.
Okay, you don't realize it, but you just threw down the gauntlet. Because I know a little bit about these things. No, because I've been playing around with them, doing it with all that stuff, and I'm cheap. I like the Chinese models. I like
now everyone knows that Joe's cheap.
I'm cheap.
Hey, one of my favorite models and one of the most lethal models I've ever seen because it's got very few guardrails is Quen.
Really?
Quen model, Quen 314B. As a matter of fact, so sorry, I'll let you continue your thought, but I have a very we can talk all day about this subject.
Well, I was just going to say I have had limited success with harnesses and and the cheaper, lower parameter models.
Well, they're getting smaller. They're getting smaller.
They are, and I know they are, again, innovating, which is great with it. So I have noticed, at least for my use cases, which are probably a little unusual, that, the dumber models sometimes, maybe I'm just using the really stupid ones, maybe not the 4 billion parameter ones, not what you want,
Here's the thing. I think the future is not bigger models. I think the future is smaller models. I think, I represent the disenfranchised models of the world. I represent small language models. So
yeah, but they're the cheap ones. But
here's the thing. Like, I would much rather have a small language model of like 4 billion or 12 billion parameters that's been trained on how to hack, and that's all its training is, than a large language model that's been trained on everything, like how to generate an image of you riding a rhinoceros through the jungle.
Oh, but you're talking smaller parameters, more specialized.
Specialized. Specialized.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, look, how did cell phones start out? Cell phones started massive. They started really big, and then we're trying to make them as thin as we can. I think that's what's happening with AI models. I think we're starting out with these massive models. It's killing our energy, our infrastructure. Right. We don't have the electrical infrastructure that China has. They way out innovated us on that, and outbuilt us. And with AI models, I think what's going to happen is we're realizing that you don't need a 1 trillion parameter model if you're going to use it to hack banks, or if you're going to use it to defend a network. I would much rather have this small language model that's finely tuned, its weights finely tuned, and Q-LoRa adapters finely tuned for defense or offense. And then forget the other big models. And I can run that on a consumer GPU. As a matter of fact, so Itasail, which is the company I'm the CEO of, we've built an autonomous AI platform for red teaming. So the U.S. government, the U.S. military, enterprise organizations use Ares for offensive cyber operations. And so our first model, Dagger, which is the model that I built, it's right now a 14 billion parameter model, and the new model we're coming out with, Predator, which is what I just unveiled on the stage. I built that harness for the U.S. military, and so Predator actually hacked a bank and then performed wire fraud, transferring money from one bank account to another in less than 2 minutes. And so, when you're talking about that machine speed and that lethality, we as humans are just not able to keep up. And I really believe we're now moving into a machine-on-machine warfare in cyber.
And it's coming faster than a lot of people expect.
And forgive me, I know I'm I'm digressing, but here's the thing. We couldn't keep up when it was the human adversary trying to break into our networks. What makes us think that we're arrogant enough to make us think that we can actually prevent or detect something that fast, that doesn't sleep, doesn't take smoke breaks, doesn't stop?
No, well, it's funny. You make a great point, and I'm assuming at your at Itasail you're tackling this. The amount of data that you have to parse through to really understand where the true compromise is or the risk is. Yeah. Because it's like anything else. There's a ton of fictitious things that are happening to kind of take your eye off the ball. Yeah. At your organization, how are you focusing on to kind of really lean out companies? Because budgets are finite, resources are finite, the top resources to help kind of combat this. What is your mission, and how are you helping organizations do that? Yeah,
so thanks for the question. So look, we're taking a different approach, because a lot of the competitors out there, a lot of organizations don't understand is that they're wrappers around frontier models. So what they're doing is they're pointing their harness, right, at like Gemini or ChatGPT. The problem with that is that you're sending your vulnerability information to a frontier model that could get spidered by Google.
Right.
Or and this is a real problem with AI models, is cache bleed. So I can go into a model that doesn't have this properly isolated and pull up vulnerability information for another tenant if there isn't proper cache bleed preventions or guardrails in place, because AI models will remember things, right, just like a human brain, right? And so if you don't know what you're doing, that information could bleed into another tenant. And we've seen that happen already, right? So what we're doing at Assail, what's different at Assail is, first and foremost, number one, our system, Ares, which is a cloud SaaS platform, allows you to hack APIs, web apps, and mobile apps. So you can literally copy your mobile app up to Ares, and she will actually reverse it to its original source code, find all the vulnerabilities in the source code, upload it to a real Android or iOS device, execute it, and then attempt to go around all the security controls and hack the app, and then the APIs it's talking to. And the interesting thing here is I published a paper, there's a research paper, called Coevolutionary Training Loops. So Ares actually war games with herself and teaches herself, I no longer train the model. So Ares is actually creating her own synthetic training data and training the model. We don't train on our clients' data, which is why the US military and enterprise organizations use us, is because we don't train our model on their data. So Ares is actually in a coevolutionary training loop where there's a breacher and a game master. And the game master creates these challenges that the breacher is constantly trying to solve. And when we wake up in the morning, we have this queue of new thoughts that she learned, new skills she learned. And we review the skill set in her brain, and then we approve what gets modeled, pushed into the production model. So,
okay, I've got to ask you then, because I've heard people making disparaging comments about synthetic data and synthetic training. Yeah. I guess you've gotten around that, at least. Yeah, so it's useful.
So there's something called the F1 score that you want to try. Basically, the challenge shouldn't be too complicated and it shouldn't be too easy. Otherwise, if it's too easy, she's not learning anything. If it's too hard, she's not going to solve it. So it's called maintaining that perfect F1 score. So basically, my belief, and there may be people that disagree with me, but my belief is that if we're training our models on human knowledge, on attacks that humans already know how to do, it's already old. I don't care about what we already know how to do and exploit in our tactics, techniques, and procedures. I care about the AI figuring out new things we've never thought of. And that's what Ares is doing. So I will sit there and review an attack that she did and be completely blown away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, completely blown away. So, like, I've been doing this for 26 years. My baby's 7 months old, right? And she's already faster and better than me. So she will actually chain exploits together. And that's what she did in the wire fraud case, where she actually took 6 different vulnerabilities and chained them together in order to actually get to the wire fraud and transfer the money out.
Oh, you actually scared the crap out of me, because ever since, all this LLM stuff happened, I said, I wonder when they're going to start to create truly unique attacks that we haven't seen, and I guess you got it.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. If we're going to where people are, we've already missed, right? Mm-hmm. We need to be thinking of what's on the horizon, what's future state, and situating our organizations and systems and what have you, because I almost look at AI as it's a new technology for the moment.
Yes.
A year from now, 2 years from now, we're going to be immersed in quantum computing and how that's going to impact all different things we had, or another technology, so on and so forth. But what you're talking about is leaning into and not focusing on what we already know. Yeah. What we already know is gone. Right. That's a bell that's already rang, and really focusing on the future state. One of the things that's so interesting about obviously your career and things that you've done, and it's just been fantastic, is what about you has kind of like, what's the trait that really kind of triggered you to say, I am focused on threat hunting. I am focused on how I can understand these vulnerabilities and beat them back, and kind of be that person who deciphers or moves through so many things to kind of understand where the real risk is. I mean, that's something innate in you. What is the thing that drives you in that space?
So I'm going to make a very controversial comment. And that's a great question, by the way, Richard, but I'm going to make a very controversial comment. I don't believe that hacking is something you learn. I think it's something you are. So when I was young, I used to break my toys. So I would actually take them apart, switch the heads, switch the arms. I would learn how it worked, and then I would take it apart by learning how it worked, and then build it a different way. To me, hacking is nothing more than a mindset of knowing that anything that can be built by humans can be broken by humans. And so, I feel like, again, controversial, too many people walk around in cybersecurity and say, I'm a hacker. It's like, just because you work in cybersecurity doesn't make you a hacker. I think being a hacker it's like nature over nurture, right? To me, you are a hacker. It's something you are, and you are learning the skill sets to fine tune that to turn yourself from a breaker into a hacker. And you need that mindset of knowing hacking is nothing more than sending a stimulus to the application that the developer didn't expect to receive. For example, my law enforcement research, I hacked law enforcement vehicles and took remote control of any Ford on the road. And so I was able to remotely start and stop the engine of any law enforcement vehicle and lock and unlock the doors, which of course is bad in law enforcement. And what I did was I leveraged a feature in the automaker's APIs that the developer didn't think about. If I send this stimulus, it will give me remote control of the car. And so it's really interesting. I feel like, it's not this magic fairy dust. It's just having that breaker mentality of knowing that there is a kink in the armor. Oh, great example. So I was going to tell you, so I don't know if you guys saw that Tom Cruise movie a long time ago. There were precogs. It was pre-crime.
Minority Report.
Thank you. So great. I love this analogy. So to me, the way we look at AI models, it assail with Ares, with the Predator harness, with our Dagger model. We believe that we shouldn't be tainting the learnings and the skill sets of AI models, just like they kept humans away from the precogs and Minority Report because they didn't want humans to taint that. I believe that training your AI model should be treated the same way. We're already executing old stuff. By the time humans are using it, it's old. A big issue is, there's a lot of drama around HackerOne using bug bounty data to train their model. That's a big dramatic thing going down right now. I don't care about it. I really don't, because you're talking about decades of stuff that like exploits that who's using anymore, right? I want to know what new novel attack chaining vulnerability discovery that the AI can find that humans never thought of. And that's what we're seeing Ares and similar models do.
I think that what you're saying just resonates so completely. I mean, in my day-to-day job, one of the things I'm virtual CISO for several different clients, and when we think about like disaster recovery or incident response or the things that they have to kind of worry about, I've kind of shifted my mindset, and I really want to get your thoughts on it, is that to an inversion. It's like, if I wanted to bring them down, I'm not trying to protect them, I'm trying to attack them. Mm-hmm. So where their vulnerabilities are, or what would really impact their business. So at a sale, do you kind of think that way as well and saying, hey, AI could do X, Y, Z, and that would really impact them. So that's something we need to focus on. Just curious on kind of the thought of, I'm not trying to protect, I'm trying to bring down, and those things will lead me to where the risks would be.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll tell you one thing, and your listeners, is Assail is not a defense company. We're purely offense. So think of us as like a defense contractor. Instead of making missile systems, we make cyber weapon systems. So we're purely offense. We are constantly trying to innovate how to break. And the thing is that, like, if you were going into a gunfight with Joe, Joe's bringing this big, massive gun, right? You're not going to go to that gunfight with a knife, right? If we know that the bad guys are using AI to hack into our networks, why the hell aren't we using AI to hack ourselves? And that's really where we come from, a place of, is building lethal AI systems to be able to give you the ability to hack yourself with what you're being hacked with. And so, yeah, we are a 100% offensive company. We are innovating in the areas of offensive security powered by AI. We have penetrate. You would think like, hey, how are penetration testers responding to this? Are they worried about losing their job? Actually, a lot of the champions at organizations that bring Ares into their environment are pen testers. So it allows me. So let's say, for example, you're running, you're the CISO for a bank. You're running like, I really want to hire that Alissa Knight to hack our APIs. I'm really worried about our APIs. I may come in to do that job, but I'm going to run Ares right alongside me so I can act as a sniper and focus on just the APIs I care about. And then Ares will cover like a shotgun the rest of the environment and all of the other APIs I can't get to. So I really, and this is a really overused marketing term, so I hate saying it, but we really see it as a force multiplier for penetration testers. Like one of, I won't say the name, but a large government agency has over 1 million APIs that approached us. And how the hell do you hack or pen test that many APIs? 1 million APIs? Are you kidding? Like, no, even if you have a blank security budget, blank check, which we all know, I'm sure you've seen, no one's got that. How do you hire enough people to hack 1 million APIs? So I think the environments are growing larger and larger to a point where humans can no longer take it. We can't do it anymore. And I think we need help. And I think that's AI.
No, I think you're right. And I think people don't realize how true that's been in security for a long time. There are a lot of things, going back even decades, that we said they're possible.
Yeah.
They're possible. And we knew people were doing it in a lab.
Yeah.
But they got really nasty.
R&D.
Yeah, when they started being able to do it at scale.
Yeah.
That's when it got really bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first version of Ares, which was I always tell people the first anything is ugly, right? And we've had customers that get that, and I greatly respect CISOs that get that like if they're an early adopter, they know that they're going to be using technology that's ugly in its first version. Yeah. Your first anything's ugly. But it's staying with it and following it to that next version and that next version and iterating. And the interesting thing about that is in our very first version, as ugly as she was, you can call my baby ugly. The first version, as ugly as she was able to hack 7 banks in 2.5 minutes. 7 banks in 2.5 minutes. I can't do that, but I can do it with AI. And so I think that's where we are now. And I honestly, again, there's probably some listeners who are going to hate me when I say this, but I think we as humans are going to move more into an operator role. Where you remember how we started out as computer operators, right? Those days? I think we're going to move back into that role where we're operating AI agents. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to be an operator of AI agents who are doing the job, and we're going to be using and applying our human analytic rigor to that. And so I think we're going to think of it like tentacles of an octopus. Like we're going to have all of these agents doing all of these things. So we're going to come in as agent operators that are operating the agents doing the actual work at scale.
Yeah, seems like it in a lot of things, development too. But let me ask you this. So we've been talking about, the automation of things and everything. And, Mythos came out and a lot of people completely freaked out. They're like, no, it's finding all these vulnerabilities.
I think it was great marketing, by the way.
Oh, it was great marketing. So much of what's going on is marketing. And you're right. Some of it is like, models are great. Then the Chinese beat us. Now harnesses are great.
It's every month it changes, right? Yeah. Like this month it's Mythos. Now Fables come out. Then what's it going to be next month? Right. And that's why the harness is more important than the model. The model doesn't matter.
No, because it'll be another model next week, next month. And to your point, it just continues on to where I think, unfortunately, it becomes white noise to folks. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing, I think, hopefully cuts through kind of that haze and that fog to really get to a point of, here's where the real problems are. And I almost feel like a lot of this is like David Copperfield. It's like, look over here, but the trick is really here. And if you're not looking at the trick, that's how you get
good analogy out. Yeah, it's like think of a harness kind of like a saddle where you can actually pick the saddle up and put it on any horse, and you can have like race horses that run really fast, and then you can put it on a horse that maybe the horse isn't trained to run fast, it's just trained to give you a really smooth ride. But that's a harness. It can be adapted to any model. The lethality is in the harness, not the model itself.
Okay, so let me ask you one last thing, so we're running out of time. Okay. I try to end things on a hopeful note when we're talking about these hardcore things. Okay. There's the Mythos freak out. You've got this very powerful harness for finding vulnerabilities. Yeah. People are freaking out. But, I've been of the mind of it, having been in the vulnerability management a very long time. It might be painful at first, but this could be very good in the long run. Yeah. Microsoft just had their biggest, patch drop ever. And I'm like, that's actually a good sign, because if they had a smaller one, those vulnerabilities are still there. Yeah,
it's surfacing the problems. Yeah. It's like, look, everyone is scared. Everyone's freaking out. The sky is falling. But look, it's Mythos today. What's it going to be tomorrow? And it's really not focusing on that. There is always, I'm a glasses half full kind of girl, right? Not half empty. So I'm a big believer in the fact that if trying to find the good in anything that looks negative, and I agree with you, I think it's going to surface more vulnerabilities across products. Critical infrastructure is great because think about it. Like now if we have an environment that's hardened against an AI attack, the most powerful AI model in harness, what's that do for raising the bar for a human hacker to come along and try and hack it? Right? So you're hardening your environment against the most powerful hacker, which is an AI model in harness. Right?
But to your point, good raises all boats, right?
We're getting better.
And it's funny, just
up all ships.
Yeah, absolutely. Just something real quick, and I really appreciate your time.
Of course.
It's fascinating. We're here at Kane, and there's a lot of people, students, people listening to you, and obviously admire your career and the things that you're doing. What are just some advice you'd give to, people coming into the business and coming into forming their career and seeing you as a guiding light? But what is something that you would leave folks with to say, hey, think about this and harness this, not to capture that word, but that kind of gives people an understanding that, maybe they won't be you, maybe they'll be better, who knows, but just coming into the career and something you can glean from your experiences.
Look, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, right? There's definitely been some amazing women and people that have come across that I stand on the shoulders of that came before me. And I know I'm already, I'm 48. Like I'm knocking on 50, I've been doing this a long time. And I know there's already several new generations, and I met many of them, that will replace me. And I think the best advice I can give is just don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Like the best advice I can give anyone is that I would rather hire somebody who really doesn't know much, is kind of junior, but they're a really good person.
Amen.
And you just everybody loves them, versus hiring someone who's a total jerk but knows everything. And so this world is full of a lot of jerks. And so you can really differentiate yourself, and you can really, I think, find the most success in your career by just being a good person and being a good human. And because there's a lot of hate in this world today. And I just be a good human.
I think that's such an excellent advice. I got that early in my career. Play nice in the sandbox and be asked to leave.
And I just got 2 college interns working with me for the summer, and I'm getting a kick out of just working with them, getting stuff from them and giving them stuff. It's like a real
be a
kick.
student. Like I don't know how old you are, but I'm sure you're older than these college students. But the neat thing is that you come in as a student, maybe they can teach you something. I know that a 14-year-old out of their bedroom can come in and teach me something. I've been doing this for 26 years, right?
Yep.
So,
well, that's a great note to end it on.
You.
And Alissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Fantastic.
God, I got so many things to catch up on now. I learned a lot.
Well, I hope to come back. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Richard. Thanks.